Alright, this is a 2002 Dodge Grand Caravan, and after charging the battery, jump starting it, and taking it out, the instrument cluster was no longer working. So we put the key in, turn it on, and although you see lights here now, none of these were working. Totally blank. Turn signals would not work. Nothing on the instrument panel. I did some searches, and it told me to take the IOD fuse out, which is this one right here, and from the engine we can see that over to the right hand side to the right of the battery. The cover, you're going to press in here, use your other hand to press in on the other side and lift straight up while pressing in. On the other side of the box, it's going to tell you what the fuses are and things like that. So one of the causes that was popular that I've seen coming up was the hazard fuse blown. That's this 20 amp right here, the second one from the left. It's yellow. They pull straight out. If you have like some needle nose pliers, you can get in there, go over the fuse, pull straight out. And what you're looking at in these for these fuses, there's a little wire that goes around, up, over, and down. When the fuses are blown, that will not be, there will be no connection. You'll probably see a little bit of black smoke marks on either side, but it will break that metal connection. That metal connection is a soft metal, and when you get more than 20 amps going through it, it heats up and then just breaks, melts, if you will. So I'm going to put that right back in here. But that's the hazard fuse, so check that first. Then some people have said that the IOD fuse, if they take this out and wait for 2 minutes, give it about 2.5 minutes, put the fuse back in, and then check your display, and it should be back on. Now, neither of those worked for me. A little more digging. Somebody had mentioned the wire, the little wire on the positive battery terminal. And that made more sense because I loosened this terminal in order to put another battery in. I've got a new battery in. It's not the right size, but it fits without touching anything. So I'm just going to go with that. It was cheap. So this red wire right here connects with a little washer underneath this bolt, which goes across to here and actually tightens this. So I took that bolt entirely off. That's a 10mm bolt. Took it off, pulled the, I'm sorry, that's a nut. Took the nut off, pulled the bolt all the way out, and then took a wire brush to everything in here. And that didn't make the metal too shiny, so I happen to have a file for metal work, but I just used that on both the washer connected to the red wire and to the back of this bolt to get some good clean metals for a good connection. Put it back together, turn the ignition, and the lights came back on, turn signals work, dash is doing good. So if the hazard and the IOD fuse doesn't work for you, then I would check on that cable. Even if you've got intermittent problems with the dash going on and off, the gauges acting wacko, that's going to be a connectivity issue of it not getting the right voltage. And that comes from that being very, very dirty. That hasn't been cleaned or brushed or even sandpapered off since I've had the car. And that's been quite a few years. So with that, that should run good. But depending on the weather conditions you live in, if you get a lot of rust and stuff, you might follow this wire back around, and I believe it comes up somewhere underneath this fuse box to supply power, probably to that hazard fuse or somewhere. But you'll have to find that and then you may take that out and clean it off, and that could be your issue. I've also seen where problems with the back of the instrument cluster not being soldered, or the solder is breaking, also causes problems. But I would try all these first before taking apart that dash and looking in that spot. These are easy, quick fixes to take care of. If it's not it, then go tracing through somewhere else, but these will be your easiest fixes.